Oh, and welcome to Rangers to Go, your daily morning starter here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. And if you don't want to miss out on the great content, hit the sub, ring the notification bell, and then you can make sure that you are always all over the goings on at Ibrox. You know what? It has been a great weekend. Obviously, as we look back this Monday morning on what has been a great weekend for Rangers, not only victory for the men's team on Saturday over Hibernian, a fantastic 4-0 win in Philippe Clement's first game, but also a great result as well for Rangers women. A 2-1 victory over that lot from across the city to knock them off the top of the table, for us to replace them. Fantastic goals as well from McLean and Rio Hardy as well. Fantastic for Rangers. A great performance. Jo Potter spoke very highly of her ladies after the game, and I think they deserve all the credit in the world for a battling performance, especially after going 1-0 down. And nice to see a Celtic head coach stroke manager not taking a defeat well, as per usual, showing that they are the biggest sore losers on planet Earth. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, Philippe Clement and, Philippe Clement is someone who is football to the core. I think if you cut this guy in half, he would bleed football. I don't know whatever colour that would be, but he would bleed football. He is a football nut. We're also going to talk about Jack Butland and a link with Birmingham City, as well as a few reflections back on Saturday's game. But let's start off by talking about our new manager, Philippe Clement. And, one of the things that really was refreshing for me at the weekend was seeing a manager showing real, genuine passion on the sideline, real, genuine desire. And I think as a player, when you look across to the sidelines and you see your manager, shouting and getting worked up about the game and really sort of, living every kick and living every moment of that game, it really does, it would inspire me. It would inspire, I'm sure it inspired the players as well. He is certainly someone who has done a great job in this initial period. Now, look, I 100% get that this is his first game. And I 100% get that, we've got to build on this now. We've got to take this forward. But what is refreshing for me, and I think I said this on the video yesterday, he understands that as well. He said that himself, that it's not about, Saturday's game, sorry. It's all about, taking this and building on it on Thursday, and then next week, and then next week, and then next week, and then next month, and keeping that forward momentum going. To me, he seems a very focused guy, a guy who is very clear about what he wants, how he wants to get there, and the improvements he wants to make. There was some ridiculousness, cited. I mean, Nick Montgomery, who is the Hibs manager, was really pushing at straws with what he said after the game, saying that Philippe Clement should have been sent off for stepping onto the pitch. I mean, look, you outplayed, you lost the game because you weren't great. You know what? Sending our manager off, what difference would it have made to the game? Seriously, I mean, clutching at straws, absolutely clutching at straws. But one thing, and I don't know whether you guys feel the same, but you look at that game on Saturday and you look at the starting lineup, and it's pretty much Michael Beale's team, and it looked different. It looked unbelievably different. It looked to have structure, it looked to have purpose, it looked to have a forward motion, no unnecessary stupid lateral passes or backwards passes, other than Borna Barisic, who went off, thank God. It was a very, very good performance. And, Philippe Clement is someone who has a real clear vision, for the future, for Rangers, and, for what he needs to do. And, he is a guy who bleeds football. Like I said, he talked today about the fact that, actually football cost him his first marriage because he was so, buying into the game and so all about the game, and the game was all consuming for him. It really does show what he feels about this, and the fact that he will give his absolute utmost to get the very best out of this team and to keep us moving forward. And look, it's going to be tough to overhaul that lot from across the city, especially after they won 4-1 today after a very poor display from Hearts. And unfortunately, a very poor display from Alex Lowry as well today. Alex did not look good today at all. And I guess that's why he's out on loan, to try and get first team minutes, to try and find those improvements and test himself at this level, to see if he really has got a future, for Rangers. But Philippe Clement, I think, has got this team moving in the right direction. Yes, it's only one game. Yes, we do need to calm down with it. Look, let's not talk quadruples. Let's not talk trophies yet. Let's keep this building and this forward motion going and believe in what we've got in this new manager. And I think we can all agree so far the best signing that we've made as a club is Jack Butland. Jack Butland has been an absolute phenomenal signing. He's performed exceptionally well. I mean, on Saturday, he had that one save, but other than that, he could have gone for a coffee at Starbucks. He really could have done, he had very little to do in the game. But Jack's been fabulous this season, absolutely fabulous. But these Butland to Birmingham stories don't seem to want to go away. Now, according to a number of reports in the media yesterday, Rangers apparently would demand a fee of at least $5 million to sell Birmingham City their transfer target, Jack Butland. Tom Wagner and his American group, who now have taken over Birmingham City, have big ambitions for the club, and I think Jack Butland is seen as somebody they would like to attract. But I mean, I personally feel that £5 million is ridiculous. I mean, I think 10 million is much closer to what you would get for a keeper of his ability. The price tag, I think, of anything between 5 and 10 million is not ridiculous. He is 30 years old, and as we know, goalkeepers do go on for a long time. He has been the standout performer for Rangers, and I think he would be for Birmingham. Look, I think we do expect Birmingham to spend money in January, given their new manager Wayne Rooney. But I don't think they've got a massive amount of money to throw at players. Certainly not 5, 8, 9, 10 million pounds. They are still in sort of a bit of dire straits as regards FFP. And I genuinely think that they probably couldn't afford him at this moment in time. And look, the way I would look at it is this with Jack Butland. You're at Rangers, Jack. Rangers are one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Rangers are a club that, are fighting for trophies every season. Rangers give you European football, which gives you a higher, stage to play on. And that's going to be good for your international future. You can play at Ibrox every other week. Over 50,000 every other week. Rangers are a massive club. Birmingham are a little club. They are a small provincial club in the Championship. They're a club that would represent a step back in your career. I mean, before anyone criticises this, let's just get these facts in statistics. Birmingham's attendance is not even half City rival Aston Villa's. Aston Villa are the biggest club in Birmingham by an absolute street. Birmingham are realistically the Partick Thistle to Aston Villa's Glasgow Rangers. Birmingham in City also don't even get as bigger attendances as Wolverhampton Wanderers, West Bromwich Albion, all have higher average attendances than Birmingham City. They're not a well-supported club. They are a club that is the second team in the second city, and I think it would represent a huge step back for Jack Butland. I mean, hopefully Jack has higher aspirations than to go and join this little provincial club like Birmingham City, who are, in my estimations, a bit of a joke. And I just genuinely don't think that it would be the right move for Jack. Given the fact that he's come here, that he gets European football, he gets to play in front of such massive crowds, and he's guaranteed first team football. In addition to that, look, they've got a new manager, Wayne Rooney. But there's no guarantee that the Wayne Rooney experiment is going to work, is it? So, look, at the end of the day, I don't think this would be a good move. And yes, you can say, oh well, what, he's got blue tinted spectacles on, being a Rangers fan. But I just, you look at it on paper, you look at it overall, and it's an exciting project under new manager Philippe Clement. Rangers are one of the biggest clubs in Europe. And at the end of the day, like I said, it would be a step backwards. There's no guarantee that Birmingham City will be promoted. There is no guarantee that that he could be playing. He'd be playing Premier League football. He's not going to be playing in Europe if he goes to Birmingham. I just think it would be a huge retrograde step in his career. It really, really would be. Now, according to a number of other reports, with the appointment of new manager Philippe Clement, Rangers are already ready to spend money on players. Now, a lot of people have talked about the possibility of, signing Abdallah Sima on a permanent basis. Now, Abdallah Sima has been fantastic since he's, really started to grow in. He seemed to get his confidence. He's got his goal scoring boots on. He's direct. He's attacking. He goes at his play. Goes at the opposition. He's looked probably the second best signing we've made. So, I think there's a lot of fans would like to see Abdallah Sima signed on a permanent basis. Now, there is no right to buy clause in his contract. Apparently, it's just a pure loan deal. So, there is no set price in that contract that, if Rangers are happy with it and Seema's happy with it and everyone agrees, we can just buy him. There is certainly no clause like that. Now, people talk about bringing him to the club, but look at it this way. He cost Brighton £8 million from Slavia Prague. You look back across Brighton's record of selling players. I think I've touched on that. 8 million for McAllister went for 65 in the end to Liverpool. He's certainly not the same player as Alexis McAllister, World Cup winner. 28 million for Moises Caicedo, sold for 116 million. Roger Sanchez, another one, Chelsea goalkeeper, was sold for a large profit as well. I think the situation would be that if Rangers wanted to sign Abdallah Sima, who has been a fabulous player for the club, I honestly think it would be somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 million pounds for Abdallah Sima. And look, as great a player as Abdallah Sima is, I just genuinely don't think that Rangers have the money to be able to spend 10 to 15 million pounds on a player, which will be sad, given how well he's done. And I think he would be an exceptionally quality addition to this squad. But I think we're going to be very much in a Malik Tillman type situation. I really do think that will be the option. I can't see, I cannot for the life of me see Rangers having 10 to 15 million pounds to spend on Abdallah Sima, as much as I'm sure we would all like it to happen. Now, Philippe Clement is, a fantastic manager. Well, it seems to be. Look, he seems to be a fantastic manager. I know, like I said, it's only one game and we've not got to carry away. According to a number of reports again this morning, we are already thinking about January and planning ahead to January. Now, obviously, I think you've got to take this with a pinch of salt because, James Bisgrove talked about appointing a director of football sooner rather than later. I'm sure that whoever the director of football is will have a say in, who Rangers sign or potentially sign in January. Now, whilst January is a good time to pick up those players who've got only 6 months left on their deal, for other players who have longer term contracts, trying to sign them from clubs when clubs know that you have a weakness there or something you need to address, it can end up costing you an absolute fortune. Now, Rangers, for me, need a new right back, they need a new left back, they need a new centre back. There is I think a rebuild of the defence really does need to go on, especially ahead of next season. We do need to rebuild a really solid defence and a centre back in the same mould as Agartha Butcher and Amaruso, someone who's going to be, no nonsense, take no messing off anyone, a physical presence at the back, a leader at the back. And look, that's going to cost money. Of course it is. And January would not the time to buy him. I feel as well we need a winger. We've only really got Rabbi Matondo. We do need a winger. Philippe Clement does like to use wingers. So a winger is definitely, again, something we need to look at. Now, according to reports, Rangers are ready to sign up to 3 new players in the January transfer window to add to the 9 who already came in the summer window. Now, look, we all know that Philippe Clement needs time to evaluate his squad, and that's what he is currently undergoing the process of, looking at what he's got, looking at what needs to improve, looking at who is up to the job and who is not up to the job, and which players he feels may be surplus to requirements. And that could even be some of those summer signings. But, very much he is apparently looking, and Rangers are apparently targeting up to 3 new players in January, according to reports in the media. Now, it was interesting today that a whole host of first-team players played for Rangers B team in a friendly game against the Icelandic team, Brid Balak, who are currently competing in the UEFA Europa Conference League. Their season is in fact finished, so they are seeking to get some first team minutes into the players' legs as they seek to continue their Europa Conference League. And if we looked at, I shared with you on the video earlier, didn't I, the team that started this game, and there was a number of first team players in this team. Robbie McCrory, who has played for the first team, obviously is the backup goalkeeper at this point in time. Adam Devine, again, someone who has played for the first team, who has participated and has played first team football. Not only that, you had obviously Robbie Fraser, who's a quality player, Ben Davis and Leon Balogun, both previously first team regulars, especially Ben Davis. Leon King, who again is a young player, an up-and-coming player, but certainly someone again who played a lot of youth team football last season. So he played a lot of first-team football last season, including Champions League games. Ross McCausland, who played yesterday for the first team. Bailey Rice, someone who was rated for the first team. Danilo, our £6 million centre forward, actually getting some BT minutes, which I think is very much about getting some more minutes into his legs, getting him some more sharpness, ready for Thursday's game against Prague and then Sunday's game against Hearts. But also add to that as well, Cole McKinnon and Aaron Lyle. There was, some pretty decent players, in this lineup. Unfortunately, Rangers slipped to a 3-2 defeat, which, is not ideal. It would have been nice to win this game. Apparently, according to Heart and Hand, there were some of the young players were having a bit of a mare in this game, and the performance wasn't great. The goals were by Ross McCausland, and substitute Connor Allen scored for Rangers late on. But when he scored late on, it was not quite enough to bring the game back. So, unfortunately, the B team did lose. Made a good account of themselves, battled till the end, lost 3-2, but made a very good account of themselves. So well done, lads, for that. Hopefully, Philippe Clement and Stefan van der Heyden, who were in attendance at this game at the Rangers training facility, have learnt something about some of these players, and also had perhaps a chance to look at the, further at Ross McCausland, also at Bailey Rice. And some of the other young Cole McKinnon, Aaron Lyle, a chance to look at those players and see what they can bring possibly to the first team in the very near future. But you know what? We reflect back to finish off. It was a good result on Saturday, and that's one positive. But what is the biggest positive to me was it was a performance, and that's what we've all been crying out for all season: a performance. There was structure, there was forward motion, there was an identity there was a style, and you could actually see what Rangers were attempting to do on Saturday in that game against Hibernian, which is very, very refreshing. Well, guys, obviously we will keep going on this channel. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the podcast tonight with Scott because of a family thing that's come up for me. I've got to be there for my daughter tonight, so unfortunately I won't be able to do a pod. I won't be back till late. But the podcast with Marina and Caroline will be going ahead on Tuesday, so tune in for that. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the content, please hit the sub. Look, over 70% of people who watch the videos do not subscribe to the channel, so if they did, we'd get that 4K target sooner rather than later, and then that 5K target before December the 31st. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, and as always, on the way out, two things, guys, I really need you to do for me. Number one, smash the like, and number two, remember always, we are the people.